So, upon reviewing the current timeline on the GT6 and having an inherent desire to dive into other projects, I think we may table the intake manifold idea and probably just clean up the factory carburetors. Everything will still get cleaned up and painted and whatnot, but in lieu of building a header and a whole new intake manifold to put a different carburetor on there, I think I'm just going to overhaul the carburetors, slap them back on, throw a coat of paint on everything, and see if we can make it run. My face is dirty, and you know what that means. I've already been working, so it's time to get back to work. So I've broken all 3 exhaust bolts. I still can't get the exhaust separated. A little disappointed in how much this thing has kicked my butt. Had all the with a potential quick project, I guess, and that's probably the mistake that I made.
Yeah. Longer, more expensive.
Well, there's a new starter in there, so I've decided to shift directions a little bit. We're kind of backing off on some of the custom stuff, tempering some of our aspirations. I think the direction at the moment is to get this thing stripped down, cleaned up, paint the engine bay, get the motor cleaned up and pretty, get it slammed back together, and start driving it. What I'm trying to accomplish with this build is not necessarily a frame-off restoration, but more of a refurbishment. We're going to clean it up, paint a few things, tidy up some stuff that previous owners had done, and more or less make it more usable and visually appealing. The target design theme is kind of a vintage race car, so it'll have deleted bumpers, the racing number gumballs on it. I'm probably going to go with satin paint on it just so it has a little bit of a patina vibe to it without being completely rusty. Hopefully get it sorted out mechanically and electrically so that it can be driven regularly. One of the other things I want to accomplish with this build is to shave some weight. This motor, there's not a whole lot you can do without spending a ton of money to make significant gains as far as output. Further down the road, if we end up with this vehicle longer term, we may look into some of that, but on the interim, our best way to gain power is to reduce weight. I'll probably get rid of the door panels and just put a real thin aluminum door card. Like I said, going around the design theme of a vintage race car, we can actually get rid of the carpet and hopefully make some lighter seats for it and be able to not only achieve the design theme that I'm targeting, but pick up a little bit of performance gains in the weight reduction process. And I'm probably going to do an aluminum dash insert for it, and that should be a 1 to 2 pound, keeping my fingers crossed, maybe a 4 to 5 pound gain. But when you multiply that over numerous parts, you can actually make some substantial headway as far as weight reduction goes. All right, there's just a few odds and ends left before the firewall's ready to get painted. Really what we're down to is getting the clutch line disconnected. I'll probably pull both master cylinders out. The brake system was already dry, so I'm not real concerned about disconnecting brake lines. The clutch did still have fluid in it, however, on the slave cylinder side, it is pretty grody, so it's probably wouldn't hurt to get a new line in there. I'm going to try to be careful because I've already got some paint going together on the engine side of the equation. Like I said, we're trying to avoid popping the body off just because it looks good enough underneath. I'm not seeing much of a cause to do so. Fun fact about these cars, they actually don't have a rubber bushing between the body and the frame. It's actually an aluminum washer. On most other cars, you would actually take the body off to replace those bushings. In this case, we're solid metal throughout, so I think I can squeak by without it. Without further ado, we'll tear into it.
Oh, don't do that. It is perfect the way it is. It's perfect the way its daddy made it. There's no sense in modifying it.